All right, let's talk about something that sounds, well, kind of scary and expensive: smart manufacturing. But what if I told you it doesn't have to be? Today, we're diving into a super practical guide, especially for you, small and medium sized business owners, on how to level up your factory without breaking the bank. Let's jump right in.
Okay, let me ask you something. What if your factory could think? Seriously, imagine your equipment sending you a message saying, hey, I'm going to need some maintenance soon before it ever breaks down. Or what if an order could just automatically reroute itself when there's a hiccup on the line? It sounds like sci-fi, I know, but that's really the core promise here. That's what we're talking about.
Now, the big, shiny end goal of all this? It's a concept called a digital twin. And it is exactly what it sounds like: a perfect, virtual copy of your entire factory living on a screen. Every machine, every process, every single part, all mirrored and updated like second by second. You can run simulations, spot problems, optimize everything, all without setting foot on the factory floor. It's the ultimate vision. The dream, right?
Okay, but let's snap back to reality for a second. For most SMEs, that digital twin dream feels like it's on another planet. The reality, it's often a huge, frustrating disconnect. You've got this amazing idea of a smart factory on one side, and then the actual day-to-day chaos of getting things made on the other. And what's at the heart of that chaos? Well, experts call it the Great Divide. And it's all about IT versus OT. The best way to think about this is like IT, or information technology, is the brain of your business. You know, your ERP system, the software that handles planning, orders, and all the money stuff. Then you have OT, operational technology. That's the hands, the actual machines on the factory floor, your CNCs, your PLCs, the stuff that's physically making things. And in most smaller companies, the brain and the hands, they just aren't talking to each other at all.
So this disconnect, it creates four major headaches. And this comes from some really great research by Professor Shihmin. So first, you've got those system gaps we just talked about: IT and OT not speaking the same language. Second, the software that's supposed to fix this, things like big, complex MES systems, they're often way too expensive and complicated for an SME to even consider. Third, there's the high-tech barrier. A lot of older machines, they just weren't built to connect to a network. And finally, there's the people problem. It's really hard to find folks who get both the IT side and the manufacturing side.
Okay, so that's a lot of problems. How in the world do you even start to make sense of all that chaos? Well, this is where Professor Lode's framework comes in, and it's honestly a lifesaver. It's like a simple, clear map that shows you how all the different parts of a factory are supposed to fit together.
Basically, it breaks your whole operation down into three core modules. Super logical. First, you've got your front-end IT systems. This is where your orders, customers, and resources are managed. Think ERP, CRM. Then, in the middle, you've got your design and data section. This is the product's digital blueprint, your CAD files, your design data. And finally, you have the back end, which is the actual manufacturing floor. This is where you connect your machines using things like MES and the IIoT. The entire goal is to get information to flow seamlessly from the front, through the middle, to the back.
All right, so that's the theory, that's the map. But what does this look like in the real world? Let's get into the good stuff. Practical solutions and real stories from SMEs who are actually overcoming these challenges right now. And they're proving you don't need to be a giant corporation to make this happen. Let's tackle the first big question I hear all the time. You look out on your shop floor, you see those trusty machines you've had for 10, maybe 20 years. They're workhorses, they run great, but they have zero ability to connect to a network. So, are they obsolete? Do you need to scrap them? Absolutely not. No way. Check out this story. Inspired by a mold manufacturer in Taichung. They had these old CNC machines that were just information black holes. You had no idea what they were doing in real time. The fix? It was surprisingly simple and cheap. They just installed a little device called an IoT gateway. Think of it like a translator. This little box takes the old school signals from the machine and turns it into data that their modern systems can actually read. Just like that, problem solved. Okay, next up, the software dilemma. For years, the traditional way was to go out and buy this one giant all-in-one MES. But for an SME, these things are usually a nightmare. They're complex, they're expensive, they take forever to set up. So what's the smarter move? It's to think smaller. Start with lightweight, modular tools, a lot of them are on the cloud now, that just solve one problem at a time. Here's a perfect example from a parts supplier down in Kaohsiung. They knew a full-blown MES would totally overwhelm their people. So you know what they did? They started with just one tiny, lightweight module for a single task, work reporting. Just letting people say, yep, this job is done. And because it was so simple, their team actually used it. And getting your team to actually use the new tech, that's half the battle right there. That is a huge win. And it's the exact same story with another one of those big, scary acronyms, PLM, for Product Lifecycle Management. This stuff manages all your design data. So a mold factory in New Taipei, they just couldn't afford a full PLM system. No way. So instead, they got a much cheaper, cloud-based PDM system, Product Data Management. Did it do everything? No. But it gave them like 80% of the benefit for a tiny fraction of the cost. A total no-brainer. So if we pull all these real-world solutions together, Professor Lowe's research gives us 5 key strategies for success. It's a great checklist. 1. Start with those lightweight MES and IIoT tools. 2. Choose platforms that are modular so you can add to them later. 3. Retrofit your old equipment. Don't just throw it out. 4. You don't have to know everything. Cultivate talent by partnering with outside experts or consultants. And number 5, and this one is so important, don't try to boil the ocean. Start with just one production line. Make it your smart demonstration project. All right, so we've seen the challenges, we've seen the strategies that actually work. Now let's put it all together. Let's make it a plan. Here's a practical, phased, 3-year roadmap for your smart factory journey. So year 1 is all about laying the foundation. This is where you bring in those easy-to-use MES and IIoT tools. You connect your first couple of machines, and you get that pilot line up and running. Get a win. Then, year 2 is about integration. This is where you focus on the data, using cloud platforms and standard protocols to get your different software systems to finally talk to each other. And then, by year 3, you're ready for the really cool stuff, intelligence. Because you have this solid base of data, you can start leveraging it for advanced applications, like AI-powered scheduling, or even that predictive maintenance we talked about. And why is this step-by-step approach so critical? Well, think back to that digital twin dream. To actually get there, you eventually need to connect and sync at least 7 different key layers of data. We're talking your bill of materials, your production schedules, work orders, machine data, quality reports, all of it. Now, can you imagine trying to connect all 7 of those at the same time? It's a total recipe for disaster. You have to do it piece by piece. And really, if you remember one thing from all of this, let it be this. The goal here is not to do everything at once. It's not about some overnight transformation. It is all about starting small. Pick one manageable project, plan it out, get that first win under your belt, and then use that success and that momentum to move on to the next thing. So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. Right now, whether you realize it or not, your factory is turning out tons and tons of data every single second. It's telling a story about what's working, what's not, and where the hidden potential is. The only question left is, are you ready to start listening?